Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. If you'd like to see an annotated transcript and some listening practice quiz questions for this episode and all of the other episodes, then click the first link in the description and that will take you straight to the post where you can join Tea Break English Club as a free member and get access to all of the podcast extras. Enjoy the episode. I've just noticed that I've got a little dog there. We've been on this call for 45 minutes, and I've just noticed that I've got a little friend.
And it's not moving, poor thing.
Yeah, maybe I should cover that up. Right, well, hello guys, welcome back to episode, what are we on? 16. I think we were on 16 or 17. It's 17. Welcome back to episode 17.
Wow.
I'm Finn.
I'm Carl.
And today we're going to be talking about London. So neither of us are from London. I'm from Cornwall in the southwest of England.
And I'm from the northwest, let's just say Yorkshire, because no one's going to know if I say the name of the place. But the point
is, the Lake District, isn't it?
Yeah, we can say it's near the Lake District, which is within England, within the UK. It's quite a famous national park with mountains and lakes, poets. It's quite a beautiful place. But the point is, neither of us are from London.
Yeah, I think driving, it takes me 4 to 5 hours to get to London. That's if I don't stop on the way. I mean,
really?
For you, it's probably a few days.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy though. That's I thought you'd be way closer. I think mine's about 6 hours.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, I suppose you can probably just hop straight on a motorway, can't you?
Yeah, I've never done the drive, but I think my brother lives in London. And when he comes back up for Christmas or whatever, that's usually how much time he takes to come back.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because where I am, the nearest motorway to me is Exeter. So it takes an hour and a half just to get to the nearest motorway. So I think, to be fair, I think going to London as well, you can either go up to Bristol, up kind of the west hand side of England, or you can go across, but that way isn't a motorway and it's a little bit slower. I think most of the way it's like a single lane. It goes past Stonehenge actually.
Oh, nice English landmark.
Yeah,
which I think Stonehenge always makes me laugh. It's a bit of a British meme, a bit of a joke about, I think it was built after the pyramids. It was, so, I think it's quite funny. If you haven't seen Stonehenge or you don't know what we're talking about, it's a very old monument or structure built by old Englanders. It's a bit of a mystery. And it's basically just huge stones that are propped up against one another. They're stacked like this, a bit like Jenga, and it's not that impressive compared to the pyramids.
Yeah, it's been made into this big thing. Everybody knows about it and hears about it, and then the road actually goes just right next to it. So when you see photos and videos of it, you think it's just in the middle of the countryside, but there's just this huge A road going next to it. And last time I drove past, I was with my girlfriend and she had never seen it. So I was like, look, it's just over there. She looked out the window. I was like, is that
it? Yeah, I think that's probably the most common reaction to Stonehenge. It's probably, is that it? It's not. I mean, I think there's this whole air of mystery around it, and it's because how did thousands of years ago, how did they transport these enormous stones from. I think they figured out that the stones are from somewhere in Wales, so they've been transported a huge amount of distance to be put there. And then the other mystery is why. I think it lines up with the sun and star patterns. But
yeah, I was going to ask, isn't there something astrological? Maybe you'd know a bit more. But yeah, I didn't know they were from Wales, actually. That's interesting.
I'm pretty sure they're from Wales. They're certainly from. I bet they're from Wales. I think they're from a long way away. But yeah, people don't really know what it's for. It lines up with some astrological patterns, but so some people think it's like an ancient calendar or an ancient clock. Some people think it was aliens. But the bottom line is, I think it's definitely something that is kind of that part of the iconography of UK history, and it's maybe slightly underwhelming.
Underwhelming or overrated. But the thing is, like, we've just spent maybe nearly 5 minutes. I don't know exactly how long, but we're doing a podcast about London, and we've just started talking about Stonehenge for a while, and we're saying it's not as good as everybody makes it out to be, yet we're still talking about it, which I think sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, that's probably good. We could probably close the book on Stonehenge now. But when was the first time you went to London, Finn?
Good question. I don't know. It must have been in 2012 when it was the London Olympics. So my primary school was chosen to be one of the many primary schools to be guard of honor for the Olympic opening ceremony. So we weren't in the stadium, but we were kind of lined up all outside of it. So when all of the athletes are walking into the stadium, well, I say are in the present tense as if it happens the same way at every single one. I don't know. This was very specific to London 2012, but so all of the athletes would be walking past into the stadium, and we'd be there as little year six. How old are you in year six? 10, 11?
11.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I think each school had a country as well that they were not representing, but I guess supporting. And our school was Qatar. So It was the first time I'd ever heard of Qatar, but I had to do a little project on it. And then, yeah, there was like 6 of us maybe from my primary school that went to be. So anyway, I went when I was quite young, had quite a specific experience, so didn't really experience London. Next time after that was when I was about 16, I think, to go and visit a friend with one of my close friends. And we went to, I think they lived in Clapham.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I could tell you. And they had a big dog. That's all I could tell you.
So Clapham is one of those neighbourhoods now in South London, which is being gentrified. So London is basically where all the jobs are, and there's lots of people who move down there for jobs. There's also, because of the housing situation in London, there's not any affordable housing. So you have areas that were typically poorer or a bit more rough being inhabited by people from outside the city or from more wealthy areas within the city when they move to London. And these areas are suddenly becoming trendy or desirable. And Clapham's one of them. Peckham is another. There's memes on the internet about the type of like art students who go and live in Peckham and suddenly change their whole personality. But the first time I went to London, it was with my family. I was really young. I think I was maybe 8 or 9, and we spent a few days doing the touristy things. I remember I had this leather jacket and this pair of gloves, and I was very much thinking I was living this London kind of fashion experience. And
You absolute gangster.
I know. And I also had loads of Blue Peter badges. So Blue Peter it was a classic British kids TV show. And one of the things they did was they had these badges, which were like awards, and anyone could apply for them, a Blue Peter badge. And I remember the gold Blue Peter badge you had to get by saving someone's life or doing something incredible like that. But there was other badges that you could get for doing smaller things. And anyway, these badges had the power to get you in for free in certain attractions in London. So my parents made me bring the whole stock down. And I remember going on the London Eye, going in not Devil's Bridge, what's it called? What's the Tower of London? Going in there for free. Devil's Bridge is this small little bridge in the town where I'm from. I don't know why I said it, but I remember that was the first experience of London. Very touristy. Going on the tube, which is the metro, for the first time, but yeah, basically just being in a very, very touristy center of London, which is a very different experience to what I now see as London.
God, yeah, the tube. I remember when I went when I was 16 and literally did not understand it at all and was just following our friend round. We did some touristy things, nothing major, not like you did, I'm guessing. I think we just walked around to see, I guess, like Big Ben and stuff, maybe. We went to the MI6, is it MI6, MI5? MI6 building as well.
Yeah.
Well, we just went and looked at it and got a photo. That's it.
Cool. Yeah, I remember the first time going to London, very touristy, and we stayed like right in the central circle, the most inner area of London, and it's so intense. It's full of tourists. It's like I was a tourist. There's so much movement and it's very agitated, and so yeah, it's a very different experience to later on when I was 18 and I went to university, and suddenly I met people from London, and so I began to visit them, and I got a very different perspective because they didn't live right in the center. They lived in neighborhoods in different areas which were way cooler, way more, I was with locals, not doing touristy things. Maybe I was just riding a bike around some neighborhoods, eating food. It was a very different experience, and I started to enjoy it way more.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so you actually enjoyed it other than just the tourist side of it. So you have quite a positive perception of London then, overall.
So if you asked me 5 years ago, before I properly went and, I don't know, had a slightly different worldview, I was more naive. But in the UK, there's this north-south divide, which is famous and spoken about quite a lot. I remember at university, they even had, I think all over the country, they have events, which is North versus South versus Midlands. And it's like a bar crawl, I think, in teams of the region. But there's this famous rivalry where Northerners don't like Southerners, and they think they're soft, they think they're like fancy, posh, and have lots of money. And on the reverse, Southerners think Northerners are rude, uneducated, poor, only eat rubbish food, that kind of thing. But it's quite silly. Obviously, these are all stereotypes, but they're based upon this divide, which is in general, the South is way richer and has London, which is this kind of diverse economy, and then the North is mining towns and factories, which are now not used anymore. But so I had that perspective of London, of this kind of chip on my shoulder, as we say in English. I had a chip on my shoulder, and I wanted to dislike London and dismiss it, but I just began to like it, and since then my brother has moved there, so I've been to visit him regularly, and it's quite nice because he has some money, so whenever I go, he'll pay for my pints or my food or whatever. So it's quite nice.